Hey guys, welcome back. My name is Jolene, and today on a slice of history, I'm going to go over when a World War II bomber crashed here in Merriam. Before I start the video, I do want to acknowledge that this was a tragic accident, but I think it should be acknowledged and is a part of our history. On July 26, 1944, Kenneth Keech was the pilot of a B-24 Liberator out of Lincoln, Nebraska. Kenny, along with 5 other crewmen, were taking this plane for a last flight test before shipping out overseas. Shortly before noon, the B-24 Liberator had arrived in the Kansas City area. This was the largest plane built at this time. It's 64 feet in length and almost 19 feet tall. I believe many people probably had not seen a plane of that size in the sky, let alone up close. I imagine everyone that could rushed out of their homes or businesses to see what was going on. People on the ground said the bomber was so low they could see the faces of the crew members, and the people on the ground and the crew were laughing and waving at each other. Everybody was super excited. It was almost like a private air show. About the time they went over the home of Kenny's in-laws where his wife was staying, he made an adjustment, but the wings that are 110 feet long came up and they hit the roof of the neighbor's house. The out-of-control plane then sheared off a corner of another house. It fell through telephone and power lines where several explosions went off, and then the plane plowed into the ground. Several crewmen that ejected themselves from the plane had to be rescued by onlookers from their burning seats. In the end, the plane damaged 5 residential homes, 1 small confectionery, and several outbuildings, along with the damaged telephone poles and power line. Unfortunately, property was not the only thing damaged in this plane crash. 3 civilians were treated for minor injuries. 3 crewmen were hospitalized for more severe injuries, and 3 crewmen lost their lives. Second Lieutenant James Davis of Oklahoma City, Oklahoma, Corporeal Calvin Summers of Brownsville, Pennsylvania, and Corporeal E.G. Vellone of Syracuse, New York, passed away that day. The 3 surviving crewmen were the pilot, Second Lieutenant Kenneth Keech from Shawnee, Kansas, Second Lieutenant Guy McMackin from Tulsa, Oklahoma, and Sargent Charles Edwards of Ionia, Michigan. Myra Jinks was 21 years old, and she worked in downtown Kansas City at a sporting goods store. She had seen the low-flying plane, but didn't get home until 5 p.m. on the bus that evening. And when she arrived, it was a very chaotic scene. There was debris spread over a mile, the damaged homes. Firefighters were still battling intense flames, trying to save other residents. Myra learned scrapbooking from her mother, and she often kept records of big events in Merriam, and eventually she became known as the Queen of Merriam. Many people saw Myra Jinks as the holder of the Merriam history, the Queen of Merriam. But if you asked her, she would say she was just documenting her life. In the end, Myra did so much in preserving the history of Merriam. She was the president of the Merriam Historical Society for 25 years. She retired from that and focused on what her lasting legacy would be. And what she set her goal for was creating a memorial for this plane crash. In order to raise funds to raise this memorial, Myra Jinks co-authored with Irene French to write the book Historic Merriam, The History of Merriam, Kansas, which became a very popular book and is treated somewhat of a collector's item. Myra had said that it was surprisingly difficult to get this memorial created. She had a culmination of 20 years in creating this, she finally had the funds. She was about to order the plaque and have it placed in time for the anniversary of the end of World War II. It was about this time when Myra Jinks found out that Kenny Keech and his family were very much against the memorial. Even though this was her last big project, she went ahead and canceled everything. Directly after the crash, fingers were pointed. I couldn't get details beyond that, but I assume they considered him reckless and basically the murderer of the 3 boys that lost their lives. On the other hand, I see Kenny Keech as a young man getting ready to be shipped off to war. He is wanting to say goodbye to his wife, his friends, probably show off that he's this pilot, show what he does, and he just took it a little too far. Either way, it shows that the Army prosecuted and sentenced Kenny Keech with no time served. There was a report that was put out by the Army Air Force's Aviation Accidents that stated the crew encountered technical problems with the compass and attempted an emergency landing with 3 lives lost in the emergency landing. I'm guessing that was the official report put out. Kenny Keech suffered from severe depression the rest of his life. He lived in Merriam until he died at the age of 82. After his death in 2004, Myra Jinks decided to reapproach the family to see if they would be okay with her putting up the memorial to the plane crash. The family did finally relent, and Myra decided that she would place the plaque to coincide with the 70th anniversary of the end of World War II. Finally, in 2014, Myra was able to place the plaque that was the memorial for the 3 lives lost that day. Oddly enough, within a year, the plaque had been stolen, but the city quickly replaced it. If you do enjoy these videos, please like, subscribe. That way you'll get notifications when I post a new video. I want to thank you guys for joining me, and as always, if you have any real estate needs, please let me know. You can call, text, or send me an email. I hope to see you next time. Until then, take care.